Friends, buckle up, because we're about to dive headfirst into the latest international kerfuffle, and this one's a real doozy. Picture this, it's February 4th, 2025. Groundhog Day just happened, Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow, and we're all bracing ourselves for 6 more weeks of winter. But, as it turns out, the real news cycle had other plans. Enter former President Donald Trump, stage right, with a proposition so outlandish, so profoundly baffling, that it makes the idea of a second Trump presidency seem as likely as finding a vegan at a sausage fest. Standing next to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Trump casually suggested the United States should just take control of the Gaza Strip, you know, that tiny, densely populated strip of land on the Mediterranean coast, home to 2 million Palestinians. But wait, it gets better. Trump didn't just want to manage Gaza, oh no, he envisioned something far grander, far more Trumpian. He wanted to transform it into, and I quote, the Riviera of the Middle East, because nothing screams luxury resort destination like a place with a history of conflict more complex than a Christopher Nolan film. Now, you might be wondering what prompted this sudden burst of, let's call it creative foreign policy. Well, that's a question that has left even the most seasoned political analysts scratching their heads and reaching for their international relations textbooks. So, what in the world could have possessed Trump to suggest such a thing? Some experts speculate it was all part of a master plan, a cunning negotiation tactic designed to shake things up in the Middle East. You see, Trump's never been one for subtlety in diplomacy. He's more of a Hulk smash kind of negotiator. Others believe it's all about reshaping global norms. Trump, throughout his time in office, repeatedly challenged the established world order. This could be seen as another attempt to rewrite the rules of international relations, consequences be damned. Then there's the theory that it all boils down to Trump's history as a property developer. See, in the world of real estate, everything's a deal waiting to happen. Every piece of land is a potential gold mine just waiting for the right touch, the right vision. And what better way to put your own unique stamp on the world than to take a region long considered intractable and turn it into, well, a Trump property? Of course, there's a glaring flaw in this line of thinking. Gaza is not an empty lot ripe for development. It's a place with a rich history, a vibrant culture, and most importantly, 2 million people who already call it home. As you can imagine, the international community didn't exactly roll out the red carpet for Trump's proposal. In fact, they reacted with the kind of collective, oh hell no, usually reserved for finding a spider in your shoe. Middle Eastern leaders, from Saudi Arabia to Jordan to Egypt, were quick to voice their disapproval. Even countries typically hesitant to criticize the US, like the UK and Germany, couldn't hold back their astonishment. The UN Secretary General practically choked on his morning croissant when he heard the news, releasing a statement condemning the proposal as utterly incompatible with international law and basic principles of human rights. The condemnation was swift, it was severe, and it came from every corner of the globe. It was the kind of universal disapproval usually reserved for things like kicking puppies and eating the last slice of pizza at a party. If the international community's reaction was a resounding no, the response from within the US was more of a confused murmur. Democrats were quick to condemn the proposal, with some even going so far as to call it ethnic cleansing. Republicans, on the other hand, were more divided. Some, like Secretary of State Marco Rubio, tried to soften the blow, suggesting temporary relocation as a possibility. Meanwhile, the people most directly affected by this whole debacle, the residents of Gaza, were left to wonder if they were living in some sort of absurdist political satire. The answer, sadly, is no. They weren't living in a satire. They were living in the real world, which, let's be honest, can often be far stranger than fiction. So what does the future hold for Gaza? Will Trump's bold plan ever see the light of day? The short answer is probably not. The logistical, legal, and moral hurdles are about as insurmountable as a brick wall made of, well, more brick walls. But the fact that this proposal was even uttered on a public stage, by a former US president no less, is a stark reminder of the fragility of peace, the absurdity of politics, and the enduring power of one man's ego.